All right, Caleb. So you kind of already before we were on here already started talking about your job, and I was like, the first thing I'm going to ask him is about his job because, um, okay, I'm trying to think. When did you start coming to Bethany?
About 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yep.
And one of the first things you came and played basketball some, so that's how I got to know you through that.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, I still don't know what you do.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what you do.
That's funny.
So I was like, oh, I got to ask him that because I don't know what he does.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an electrical engineer. Went to the University of Akron, got my degree in electrical engineering, and I ended up in the it's called the consulting engineering side of the business, which is basically designing for buildings.
Okay.
So our company, we have electrical, mechanical, plumbing, civil engineers, and so we design, produce drawings and specifications for building projects.
Okay. Is it
Mostly commercial.
commercial?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. And you were saying earlier that you guys are growing and
Yeah, we're starting to grow a little bit. I feel like the past few years we've been holding on to some more people, and kids keep graduating from college and wanting jobs, and they like to get good people in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good time at the company right now.
So how long have you been doing this?
Well, since I graduated, which would have been about 2011.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So,
Do you like it?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like it. It's every job is a little different.
Yeah.
So it has some good variety. You get to go into certain places of buildings that you'd never normally get to go.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of hospital work anymore, but if you do work at hospitals, you get to go into, some of the back areas and places where, you would never see normally. It's kind of interesting. Get to go out onto job sites when they're under construction and, and check on the work. And so you get a good sense of the whole process of construction from kind of beginning to end, and how they actually build these pretty big buildings.
Yeah.
It's neat.
So how did you get into that? How did you know that you wanted to do that? Or you didn't know?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Through most of college, I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go, because in electrical engineering, you can go, there's just a myriad of different directions you can go with it.
Okay.
But I did 4 co-op terms in college. Anyone doesn't know what that is, it's basically you take a semester and you work for a company.
Okay.
It's kind of like an intern.
Yeah.
And then you go back to school the next semester and you just alternate for like the last 2 years of your degree. And I ended up working at a company that did that.
Okay.
Just kind of fell into it, and I liked it enough, and I realized like this suits me well.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a job at a different company than the one I co-opted at, but the same type of work.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not really I was never really into the super technical like circuits and programming and robotics or computers and all that kind of aspect of engineering. This is kind of more big design type stuff. Doing lighting, doing power distribution, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
So it's always interesting for me, like, I came to Bethany because of a girl. So yeah, how did you guys find Bethany? How did you guys start attending here?
Yeah, so we had been going to a church for about 10 years. The church met in the Brimfield Elementary School, and we lived in Hartville, so it was about a 15-minute drive for us. It wasn't too bad. Well, when the pandemic hit, the school basically kicked out everybody who was using the building who was not associated with the school.
Yeah.
So the church was homeless for a little bit. We were doing like online stuff, and then they ended up temporarily moving into South Kent, and then they found a permanent building in West Kent. And we were doing that for a while, but it was a 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
We were also doing the youth group. So we were driving up there twice a day on Sunday. So it was like 2 hours of driving on Sunday, and it was just getting far.
Yeah.
For us, that's with 5 kids.
Yeah.
That's far. Yeah, and they were starting to, when you're in a community, they moved to Kent, and now they're starting to focus more on Kent and getting people from Kent. And it was, we lived in Hartville, so it was the distance and just being in a different community than the church was just making it a little tough.
Yeah.
And I had some things I've been recently reading. The significant one was actually a little book called Life Together by Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Yeah.
And he focuses on just the Christian community and how, and this vision for Christian community that really is dependent on proximity. Like you just need, you can't do a lot of the stuff unless you're close to people.
Right.
And so we kind of made the decision that, I felt a conviction that, I really want to be living in a community where my church also is.
Yeah.
Right? Because then you are close to the community that the church is actually serving.
Yep.
And it's much easier to have community with other people.
Yeah.
When you're only, 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes away from people instead of 30 to 45 minutes away from people or more.
That's a ways, yeah.
So that kind of spurred us to start looking in the area, and we heard about Bethany because someone from the homeschool co-op that Rebecca attended took the kids to said, "Oh, this church, the pastor Matt, I'd really trust him. He's a really great guy."
Yeah, must
really,
be a different Pastor Matt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So we got a good recommendation, and we started just watching the online stream, and we were watching some other churches too, but it's interesting. Yeah, so when we finally came, it was 2 years ago it was when Christmas was on Sunday.
Okay.
And the weather was really bad that day, and so we decided, instead of driving in the bad weather up to our current church, we'll go check out Bethany. And when we did, it was good. It was a good service. And then we discovered that we had some friends here that I had actually gone to school with at my tiny little school up north in Geauga County. That was Aaron Gingrich.
Okay, yeah.
And Kim Estes, his sister. I went to school with both of them, and they went to going to this church their whole life.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that they were,
That's crazy.
So we saw them, and so that was a connection, and started coming, and it was really good. It's been a really good place for our family.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so how long? I know what church you're talking about that met in the school.
Yeah.
How long did you guys go there?
Yeah, it was about 10 years.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. That would be, so that would have been 12 years ago. Because I went there too for a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
When I was in high school. So that would have been, probably 2008 or 9-ish.
Yeah, I don't think you were there when I was there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember when we actually... Yeah, that would have been later. Yeah.
Okay.
Or we would have come later than you. Than you were there. Because I graduated I started working at my company in 2011. And at that point, we were still Rebecca and I were still going to the chapel in Akron, which is where we went through college. and then I think we were there about a year or so, and then we moved to this other church. So
Gotcha. Small world.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had no idea
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't. Me and my mom kind of went, and yeah, we didn't. It's not. I don't even think we were there that like super long.
Mhm.
Maybe like 6 months or something. But yeah, seems like a different lifetime ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, crazy. So did you meet Rebecca at Akron?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we both went to Akron. We were both involved in Campus Focus, which is Akron's or the chapel on Akron's big college ministry,
Yeah.
basically. And so we both attended that, and that's where I met her. And yeah, there's a whole story behind that.
Yeah.
There's had to be a little bit of pursuit there.
Yeah. Which way?
Me to her.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got rejected a couple times.
Yeah. But you were like, nah.
Before she came around.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, that's where we met, and yeah, it was good.
Awesome. So when did you guys get married? Did you guys get married after college?
We got married, yes, in 2012.
Okay.
So actually, we just a couple days ago was our 13-year anniversary.
Dang.
So
we got married in 12 also.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We were babies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very different. We were going back and reading some of the journaling from like over our honeymoon and when we went on our cruise like 6 months later, and it was different.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, 13 years is a long time ago.
I know. Oh man, it is crazy. Yeah. You
So.
read some of those letters when you're dating, and you're just like, "Oh my word,
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me?"
Well, you kind of go, yeah. You kind of go a little nuts, and when you're in that stage, like just even I think physiologically or mentally,
Yeah.
it kind of messes with your head a little bit when you're in love and you say,
Yeah,
you go back and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
But
Why was I so cheesy
Hey.
and corny?
it got you to where you need to be, right?
Yeah. And maybe, people nowadays are still cheesy and corny, and
Well,
But-
yeah. Well, I mean, we're both dads. I mean, and so I love the dad jokes.
the dad jokes are
I
great. Yeah.
lean into the dad jokes hard
Yes.
as much as possible.
Yeah. You need to talk to Q then. Q's
Q's a dad joke guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He thinks them up right on the spot. Yeah. They're very dad jokey.
Yeah. I'm still trying to get my on the spot because I know a lot of them. I can never seem to think of them
That's how I am too. Yeah.
off the cuff like I want to. So.
Or I think of them and I think of
Working on
like 70% of it,
Yeah.
and then you start into it and you're like, oh wait, no,
Yeah, it didn't
I just ruined that.
But it's pretty easy to embarrass my kids. So
Is
But
it?
that's my goal, especially as they get older, to
Embarrass them?
Embarrass them sufficiently.
Our oldest gets embarrassed very, very easily, so
Mhm.
I try to refrain because I don't have to do anything to embarrass her. So
That's funny.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, tell us a little bit about your like growing up. Did you grow up in a Christian home, or when did you become a Christian, and when did you start taking your faith more serious?
Yeah, so I grew up actually in we did grow up in a Christian home, going to church a lot. My dad was actually a pastor.
Okay.
So we were at church a lot,
Yeah.
2 days, 2 times on a Sunday and Wednesday night, and
Mhm.
things like that. But the interesting thing is that there was without getting really too much into it right now, there was a kind of a dichotomy between like our church life and our family life.
Yeah.
There was some strife in the family life that was kind of behind the scenes. That wasn't great. My dad, even though he was a pastor, he wasn't my spiritual mentor.
Okay.
There was a lot of difficulties there at home. My wife says that based on what, just kind of what happened at home. She says it's basically a miracle that I ended up the way that I did.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up in that dichotomy, and I had some good mentors and other friends kind of going through high school, and but it was really in college, I feel like, is where I never really went through a period of doubting. I was always kind of, and even through high school, I was always like, I always felt like Christianity was true, and I believed it, and I was into it. But I think it was really in college where I really made it my own. I kind of decided that this was, that I was going to actually really live this out.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a specific moment. It was just, I think campus focus was a big part of that, and the teaching of the guy who was leading it at the time, and and the rest of the staff and other friends there, and really kind of made it stick really well for me. And another probably if you could take a chunk of time, not like a moment, but like a time in my life where it was really formative for me was when it was intentionally discipled by me and a group of other guys by a couple who had come back from the mission field. They had connections to the church in Akron, and they were staying on furlough, and they were big into discipleship, and they brought me and a number of other guys every week. We would go to the place that they were staying, and he would disciple us.
Yeah.
And that was just super, super formative for me. Just the things that he just encouraging us to take the Bible seriously, take your learning of the Bible seriously, actually living out your faith in a way that is practical. He's a very practical guy, very, very learned guy. So I have a huge debt to him.
Yeah.
I actually still listen. They started him and his wife, they're in Florida now. They have an international ministry. He travels around the world and trains pastors around the world. So I'm kind of discipled by them a little bit through they're doing a podcast for a couple of years.
Okay.
So it's called I want to give it a shout out. It's called the Radical Christian Life with Doug and Paula. So they're just fantastic teachers, a lot of fun. So if you're looking for good Bible teaching and insight, I definitely recommend them. But so that my time with them was very formative. I keep looking back on that. It's like, wow, this impacted me more than I even thought at the time.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you think that, because I wonder this, my first 2 years I went to a Christian university. I'll just say that, Christian university. But, so we had like all these things that we had to do. We had to meet in small groups. We had to go to 3 chapels a week. And
3.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a certain number you had to hit. You didn't have to go to all of them, but you probably had to average like 2.5 a week.
Okay.
Something like that. So it sounds really spiritual, but to this day, I don't remember one single thing I heard at any of the chapels, which is not great. But so I always wonder, like, if I would have gone to a secular college, like, would it have actually been better for me? Because it sounds like for you, like, you had to stay plugged in, and you had to be intentional about, seeking out discipleship or seeking out like a faith community. Where in my situation, it was like I got to get up early tomorrow because we have chapel. Right. And you get up, you go, and like it's just like one of those things you have to do. So it's not necessarily your decision, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, I think that is. I think there's a place for Christian college and for a secular college. I think there's different people are going to respond better to each one. Some kids going into college probably still need that structure.
Yeah.
And some it's a little harder. You know, it definitely. I mean, Akron's definitely not a Christian school. It's very, very secular.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did have to be very intentional about like I'm going to. It's my choice to do that. At that point, when you're in college, you're kind of breaking free from the influence of your parents, and and you have more freedom to actually decide what you want to do. So
it's a scary time.
yeah, it is a bit. It is a bit of a scary time in some ways. So, but I think there is in my opinion, sometimes the Christian colleges can, depending on how they're set up, can be a bit over parenting.
Yeah,
they almost become the surrogate parent, which for some people just it doesn't work well.
Yeah.
I totally get them wanting to keep a standard of they have a student standard that they want to uphold if you're going to go there, but it can get a little overboard in my opinion. But there is a place. I'm not bashing Christian colleges at all. There's a place for that, and there's people that's very well suited to, but it's not necessarily well suited to everybody. I think of it for me. It's a bit analogous to: do you send your kids to a Christian school or a public school?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very strong debate from some people for advocating for one or the other. And for me, it's just you can do very well in one and very bad in another, or vice versa. It's just, it's not. A lot of it can depend on how, like I still have, no matter whether they go to Christian school or a public school, I have a responsibility as a parent to stay involved and to actually, I'm supposed to be discipling them and mentoring my kids. Yeah. Right. I can't just send them to a Christian school and expect that all to happen and just kind of check out. Yeah. Because sin still happens at Christian schools. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And if they're at public school, I definitely need to, to still keep doing that. And it's just, I think it's a similar thing for if you're deciding whether to go to a Christian college or a secular college, like you can grow in your faith. Yeah. In either one. Yep. There's going to be sin at both. Yeah. You're going to be challenged at both in different ways. But you still need to be intentional about your faith
wherever you go.
Wherever you go. That was one of the big things that, going back to this time of discipleship with this couple, intentionality was just a huge thing. It's just have a goal, know what you want to do, know like what are your goals for your spiritual walk? What is God calling you to? And if you're not being actually intentional about following those up and actually doing those things and having a plan, then you're not really going to move. Yeah. You're not going to grow like you could, you should. He liked little pithy sayings that they seem kind of cliche when you hear them, like, oh, I've heard that before, but when you really think about it, it is profound. So, one of the examples would be, he would say, without a goal, you cannot score. Yeah. Seems very, very cliche, but when you think about it, like it's so true. Right. We can be aimless in our walk. If we're aimless in our walk with God, you don't have a goal in mind. Yeah. Then you're not going something to aim for. Then you're not going to achieve the things that you want to. You're not going to grow in your faith in the way that And then you're kind of like, why am I not growing? Well, I'm just kind of living aimlessly. I'm not living intentionally.
Yeah.
So some of the things that he kind of burned into my mind that I'm still growing in.
Yeah.
It takes a while to do that, and I'm still learning a lot about that, about how that works out in my own life. But
that's interesting. So it makes me think of, yeah, I talk about this a lot, but I'm a broken record at this point, but it's okay. So for me, like when I first started becoming a youth pastor, I was like, theology is the bridge to get these kids more serious about their faith, because that's how it was for me. But the more I've been doing it, the more I'm like, there are some that does work for, but the majority would be like through relationship, just being there when they need it, listening to them intentionally, like going after them and just building that relationship. So like, I know you're a reader, you're a thinker. So what, like for you, what was like, do you think it would be more relational that got you more serious about your faith? Or do you think it would be more like the theology mind side of things, or maybe even a combination? Or it's interesting. I just like to see what other people think about that.
yeah, I think it was a combination for me.
Okay.
I'm a very analytical type of guy. Like
Yeah.
I'm very, as an engineer, like I like the arguments to be lined up, my ducks in a row, and that way, so in that way, theology can kind of speak to my heart, and a good reasoned argument, in theology does help me quite a bit. So I think the theology part of it, knowing what is true and why it's true, and having training like that was very impactful. But the relationship also, like there's very few people I feel like that can get to that point without some type of relationship, and living it out with people, and having somebody, because that's really what the Christian community is about, right? If we didn't need relationship, then we wouldn't need the community, right? We could all just study it on our own and be, and get the theology right, and we'd be good. Yeah. So, and I do think especially for today's younger people, that the relationship is key. I think that there's a bit of a shift where kids aren't quite as interested in, like, all the arguments about, like, whether it's true or not, like, but is it relevant to them? Yeah. Is it good? Is it, is it something that they can actually live out? And a lot of that takes relationship, and part of discipleship is living that out with other people. Yeah. So I think when students see their mentors or older people around them actually living out their faith in a way that shows that they actually believe this, and it actually is impacting how they live, and I can see that they mean it, and I respect that person. How that has a huge impact, I think, on people in general, but especially on the younger kids. Yeah. So
for sure. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. The more you talk to people, the more you get like I don't know, you just get different stories about how they came to faith, or something that made it more, real to them. Is there anything that you can look back on, or maybe there's a couple moments that you can look back on where you're like, oh, like God was really present and real with me in this situation?
Yeah, I don't know if I have like a lot of specific moments, I see it as more for my life, more like seasons.
Okay.
You know, I've seen in my life God's faithfulness over like a period of time, especially I would say like there's times when I have strayed, or I have like started to go down a path of sin or something else that was destructive and not good. And I've seen God's faithfulness in that he always has done something to bring me back.
Yeah.
Like, and even if I keep going back, he keeps
Yeah.
bringing me back, and either through discipline or some other method, he keeps bringing me back. And that faithfulness for me, like that faithfulness of him to continue to pursue me and put me back on the path, on the right path, has been is probably one of my biggest testimonies in my own life to God's goodness. And like, this is real. Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't have continued down that way and really messed up my life. But
it's like that meme or GIF where like it's a sheep. Have you seen that one where the farmer, like, it's a huge ditch, the farmer pulls the sheep out of the ditch and it hops like 3 times and then goes right back in the ditch?
I think I have seen that one.
I was like,
yeah.
Christian life 101.
It's kind of like what we do, right?
Yeah.
You know, but,
unfortunately, yeah.
You know, it's an apt metaphor though, because God's a good shepherd and that's his sheep.
Right.
So he's gonna shepherd's gonna go and he's gonna pull that sheep out again.
Yeah.
And even if it keeps falling in, he's gonna keep pulling it out.
Right.
So I think that's what God does for his children.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what he's done. That's what he's done for me. Over the years. So I've seen that continual faithfulness just over long periods of time in my life.
What would you say is something that that you feel like God has been showing you recently? Something that God's been teaching you?
I would say he's been revealing that I don't think I'm as content of a person as I thought I was.
Laughing because I can relate.
Yeah, it's interesting because I usually feel like I'm pretty content with a lot of stuff. Like that was my feeling, but you know, with having kids, well, there's a few aspects to it, because we've been looking for another place, another house for, I don't know, a couple years, just because our kids are starting to outgrow, our house a little bit. We have some things that we wanted that we would like to do with a larger place, and with the market, it's been hard to find a place that we actually would want to move to that's within reason.
Right.
And so I think part of that for me was that search for the house was becoming a discontentment. Yeah. With where God had put us currently, and just seeing that, and learning that, we can still look, but how can I be more content and focus on where I am now as well, instead of continually looking to a potential future. Another aspect of it would be just with 5 kids, the house is never as clean or as organized as you would like it to be.
Really? Why not?
It's learning to be content with, again, I like things to be, organized and clean, and you have to be content with a certain level of disorganization,
right,
and uncleanness, because you just, with 5 kids, you can't, if you try to keep it to that optimal level that, like, in your mind you want, you're going to be cleaning constantly. You never have time to do anything else. I know. So there has to be a contentment with, like, hey, within this season, it's not going to be as ideal as like I want it in my mind.
Yeah.
There's some of those things that God's been revealing to me is how can I be content with kind of where He has put me, right now.
Yeah.
You know, in relation to the kids, one of our favorite proverbs, I forget the reference, that we quote to each other, Rebecca and I, every so often, especially when the kids are going a little nuts.
Yeah.
It's where there are no oxen, the manger is clean.
Okay.
So the idea being, if you want a clean manger, well, you can, but you can't have any oxen.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get the benefit of having the oxen,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and all the things that they bring.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a mess.
Yeah.
Right. And I like to relate that to kids. You know, you're not, you're going to, kids are they can be messy. They're difficult. You know, they fight you.
Right.
They yell at you.
They do.
Yeah. So there's messiness there, but if all you're looking is for cleanness and in order, you can get that, but you're not going to have the kids just bring, you know, the Bible also says, you know, the blessed is the man whose quiver is full of kids. So they are a blessing as well.
Yeah.
So I guess just overall learning contentment, and God revealing that to me, and you know, and having that affect kind of how I actually go about my daily life.
So what are your kids' age?
So Micah is going to turn 10 in about a week, and then Josie is 8, Silas is 6, Ezra is 4, and Adeline is 1.5.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Very similar to us too.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have 5, but yeah.
Similar age.
Yeah.
Age stage.
Right.
So, yeah. Fun ages. I know there's challenges through all ages. I understand that, but yeah, it's every stage is unique in their challenges and then their blessings.
Yeah.
So,
I know, and it goes by so fast. Like Mila's going to turn 10.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 10? How is that possible? Like, you know, like it's just, man, it's so fast. So it's really something, because I have that, I'm very idealistic in myself. And so, not necessarily with the cleanliness of of things, but just with like how family looks. Like it looks neat and it looks like we're having fun and, you know, we're just bonding and all that stuff. And it's just not reality.
It's
so
not
it can
reality.
be, you can be kind of, idealism can consume you if you're not careful. But so what would you say to, I always think about this like in the future and in the past. So what would you say to somebody that just got married or maybe just has one kid and like it's just starting this journey? Like what would you say to that person looking back?
You know, I think just just encourage them to for those who are just married, without kids yet, just encouraging them to enjoy the time together and focus on your friendship. Focus on being friends with the person that you married and continuing to move together.
Yeah.
Because when you are married, there is still that honeymoon phase, and when life gets going, you know, and you're working jobs, and especially if kids come, you get distracted by a lot of different things, which are not bad things, but if you're not intentional again about your marriage and staying friends with the person you married, you're good. You can start doing this. You can start moving apart, and just being intentional about, especially in the early stages, continuing to work on your friendship, your vulnerability with each other, your closeness, and to make it a priority to continue to move together. Like, no matter if it's, good times or hard times, like continue to move towards each other instead of apart.
Yeah.
Because it's if you don't do anything, if you're not intentional about that, I think naturally you tend to move apart.
Right.
And it takes intentionality to kind of continue to move together. To those with might have one kid or just starting to have a family, I think for us, going from 0 to 1 was probably the hardest transition.
Yeah.
Once you add more, it's just for us anyways, it wasn't as difficult. It was just more.
Right.
It was just more of the same,
Yeah.
which did make it more difficult in some ways. But that shift from just you two to now you and another little human was challenging. And so just encourage people to stick it out, and again, just keep growing close to each other, and love the time learn to be content with the time that you have. There's times with our first kid, he didn't sleep very well when he was a baby for a number of months. So you were up, and sometimes you're just up and you just had to laugh. You just had to be like, this is like, would I rather be sleeping? Yes, but like I'm up here I'm holding my kid, and this is good.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
there's still goodness in this, and you just have to laugh about it sometimes.
Right. Laughing definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's great. Yeah. For me, I would just say being present, which sounds like, similar to what you're saying, like in the moments of chaos, being present. Cause it's like, in this moment, do I want to deal with a screaming toddler? No. But there's going to come a day where my kids are gone, and I'm going to be like, oh, I actually kind of would want the screaming toddler.
Yeah.
Just to have my kids all here and together again. So I know that's coming. And so just trying to remind yourself to be present, even though it's not always the funnest thing or the easiest thing, but
that's it. One of the things that reminded me of that I think I would encourage parents to do is to be, again, intentionally present in their kids' lives. Make your family a priority.
Yeah.
Because kids, I think, kids need their parents around as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I've tried to in my, in my, even with my job, to make sure that I am prioritizing my family and making sure that I am there for them, and my kids know that because I am around as much as I can be.
Yeah.
I know that's different for different people, and that can be harder or easier depending on what your situation is, but still make it a priority. Make sure your kids know that and hear that.
Yeah.
Because that presence I think is huge.
Definitely. For sure. So, what is something about you? What's something interesting about you that most people would not know?
Well, one thing that sometimes gets a reaction from people, especially some of the younger kids when in youth group, it definitely did when I did youth group back in our previous church. In college, we did a 2-week missions trip to China.
Okay.
And got to, and one of the days we were there, we actually ate dog.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
My word.
So if you're not aware, in China, at least in this part of China, like this wasn't like your pet poodle.
Right.
They have wild dogs.
Yeah.
Basically, they wander the city, they wander the country, and they catch them and eat them.
Yeah.
And so one day they are like, we're gonna have dog.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. It was,
Yeah.
it was very, very greasy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. So I've had dog. So that's interesting. But we were in China for 2 weeks. I also went to Haiti a couple times. It was right after that massive earthquake. I think it was like 2009-ish.
Okay.
When they had a huge earthquake that just
Yeah.
devastated the country. So I went down there a couple times, one for a couple weeks, once for a month, to help build temporary homes. That was quite an experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's something we have in common too. I went to Haiti. We went to Haiti, me and Mary did, and I think it was 2015.
Okay.
But yeah, awesome place.
yeah,
Love the people there.
yeah.
So cool. And then yeah, we'll end with this question if you're good with this. What's something that is bringing you joy right now?
I would say peace and quiet bring me joy. There are because there are times when we have peace and quiet. They're a little fewer and far
Praise
between.
God for that.
But that brings me joy when those times happen. Just reading, resting, spending time with my kids. Probably the biggest things right now.
Yeah.
Those small moments. What really brings me joy, I think, is when one of my kids does something that shows that they're actually listening.
Yeah.
When they actually show love to each other. When they're someone's hurt and cry, and they one comes and helps the other one out, or they do something without me asking them. Because so much of parenting just can feel like you're saying the same things over and over and over and over again, and they're just not getting it. And then when they do, there's that times that they do get it. That brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like I love reading. I'm a big reader, so anytime I get a chance to just sit down and rest and read for an extended period of time brings me a lot of joy. So
what are you reading right now?
Let's see. What am I reading right now? I am reading a book called a book by Gavin Ortland called Why God Makes Sense in a World That Doesn't.
Okay.
Bit of an apologetic work. Takes a little bit of a different approach to it. Reading that for the second time was one of those ones that deserved a second read.
Yeah, you said Gavin Ortland?
Gavin Ortland, yeah.
He's not related to Dane Ortland, is he?
I think they're brothers.
Okay, gotcha.
I think they're brothers.
Yeah. You said Ortland. I was like, oh, is it Gentle and Lovely or?
Yeah. I believe so. If I'm wrong about that.
Yeah.
It's possible, but I think they are related. I was reading a bit of got out my Sherlock Holmes volumes.
Okay.
Starting to read some of those again. So yeah, typically I like to have both a fiction and a nonfiction book kind of running concurrently. So those are the two I'm working on right now. So
awesome. Hey man, thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming on and getting to know you a little bit better. So
glad to do it.
Yeah. If you want to close us out in prayer.
Yeah.
You good with that?
I am.
Cool. Sweet.
Father, we praise you for who you are. We praise you for just the community at this church, and that we get to do this together and to get to know you and to know more about you together. Thank you for Jordan and the opportunity to do this podcast, and I pray that you would bless him as he continues to minister in the church, and we thank you for just all the blessings that you give to us in Christ. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thanks, man.
Thanks.